the thing about the generals, they create generals. I don't think they make. I don't think you go, hey, you're really good. We're going to give you a promotion. I don't think that's the way it is, because they're all the same person, except for when they say you can be smarter, and we're going to make you smarter because we're going to tweak your genetics to make you better. You know what I mean? They chose one guy to be a great physical specimen, a great place to start, but then they tweaked him. They made some of them more soldierist, more, followers, and other ones more leaderish. I mean, I think they really created it. I mean, these guys are capitalists. They made sure to do it right. I don't think they would have, let them have too much. I mean, imagine that some guys got better and they can get promoted, but I think generals were made, not grown, if you will. Does that make sense? What do you think? You think I'm wrong? Or do you think that they all started off and they were all just grunts, and then some guys were better? I mean, think about it.
Either way is definitely possible. I mean, without knowing if there is a story about that. Really, if George Lucas thinks he can make more money off of particular clones lasting longer, then
if you had identical twins, and which you could never do this, but if you could give them the exact same environment, would they turn out the same? You wouldn't be able to give them the exact same environment unless you limited everything.
Together, and there's identical twins that get along so well that they have the same friends.
But still, they don't have the exact same environment because one of them, everyone has individual experiences. So one of them might become a general, and one of them maybe a lieutenant if they joined the service. But I think that if you were going to have these guys go from baby to adult in 6 years or whatever it is, you don't have them in the field in that time, and they need to be battle ready, then you can't just have a bunch of grunts and then have a grunt just be picked to lead. I think they had to grow, they had to design them, program them genetically to be bosses from the start, because they're coming, they're going to want this army, they bought it for this time, so we need to make sure that it's functional then. I mean, maybe they had some of their first clones. Maybe they had their first clones train as generals. Maybe. But I mean, why not just genetic? I mean, they've got total control of a double helix here, so why not just make some of them smarter, some of them dumber, some of them stronger, some of them more...
But that's the thing. You can make them smarter, but where do they get the knowledge? That knowledge has to be learned from somebody.
Yes, but when I mean smarter, I don't actually mean things that they've learned. I mean the ability to calculate that stuff. These guys, they could have had their genetics tweaked to be more of the tactical thinker, and maybe they spared the more agility part and gave it to the guys who are in the field. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously they're from the same... I mean, they all were cut with the same cookie cutter, but they may have come in and put different frosting in different places.
But I don't see why would you... I mean, to me, I don't see any reason why you couldn't have them both be highly intelligent and highly agile, but then the only difference would be the knowledge that they obtain from training or whatever.
Well, I'm not saying...
Why would you... I mean, there is no limit. If you have... Obviously, you would prefer to have... You don't want a dumb brute, necessarily.
We don't necessarily understand it because it's beyond our understanding of genetics now, but maybe there are limits. At least in my understanding of genetics. Maybe there's a point where, well, there isn't enough spots for the code. I mean, we only have so many codes. Yeah, there's only so many build points, so you gotta split it up.
You want them to be smarter.
Exactly. I mean, I think you do. I think that's exactly what they would have to do. But I'm sure that the generals still are educated also. But they've got the capacity to learn faster and think better in those situations. But they clearly say we've made them more docile, because Jango Fett is obviously an individual. He totally wants to do things his way. But these guys, they say, hey, they're more docile, which means they follow orders. And so that's exactly what you'd want them to do. Because basically, we're making droids. You guys have a droid army. And they're great because they have no emotions. None of the weaknesses of humans. So they're perfect for killing. I mean, that's what we do. We've got drones. We've got bombers far, far away. We try to create these machines to separate us because they're better than us. So then you've got these clones. Well, what would you want a bunch of clones who felt? You don't want to just, I mean, why? I mean, the nice thing would be that they wouldn't have families. So for a democracy, clones would be good. But at the same time, you don't want them getting all touchy-feely and then going, you know what, we got a bunch of guns, we know how to kick their ass, let's go kill them, like the Terminators. We wouldn't want all these armed clones saying, we're the real power, let's take it. So you would want to make them weaker. You'd want to make them into human robots.
So do you think that they castrate all their clones?
I would be surprised if they're all sterile.